So I've managed to pick up this Brooks leather saddle. This one is the B15 Champion Narrow model. Now this model was made for racing bikes, or road bikes at least. It's also recommended for people who are quite slim. And for people who know me, they can say that I am not the fattest person on the earth. Now, this one has some markings on it. Here we have a patent number. The Made in England stamp is down here. You may be able to see that. And here is what is widely recognized as a date code. Now, this one says C65. The C apparently is denoted to whichever quarter of the year it was made in, and the numbers on the bottom are the last two digits of the year. So you've got 4 letters for the year, which is A, B, C, and D. This one being C is in the 3rd quarter of the year, which is around July to September. And 65 is 1965. There are other markings on the leather in here, which are letters. From what I've read, nobody really knows what they mean, but from experience of working at factories in my life and knowledge of other vintage products, these are probably quality control markings or initials for whoever made this particular saddle. What I need to do with this saddle, I need to condition the leather on here to make it a bit softer and make it look more polished and nicer to look at. On the top and on the underside here, we'll condition the bottom as well. Plus, I need to get rid of some of this rust on here. For the conditioning, I don't have the Brooks special branded mysterious mixture, but what I do have is some mink oil, which I usually apply to boots in the winter time. I think it's pretty much a very similar product to the Brooks one, mainly a different animal is used. Okay, so we shall do that. So we'll leave that soak in overnight, and we'll come back to it tomorrow, where I can buff it up to a nice shine. Okay, so now it's the next day, and as you can see, the conditioner is seeped into the leather quite nicely. So now we can give it a rub over with my trusty old t-shirt and give it a little bit of a shine. So there we have it. I've given it a bit of a buffing, and now it's quite nice and shiny and smooth. I'm sure it will get more shiny as I ride it and break it in. There's no need to shine the bottom of it, as no one's going to see that, and I'll just let the conditioner seep in. This mechanism here is used to add tension to the saddle when the leather gets stretched and sags over time. But it looks to me like this one has never been touched, and thankfully it doesn't look like it needs to be at the moment, so I can leave that alone. The next job to do is to treat this rust on the back plate here and on the rails. Okay, so what I'm going to use for this is some distilled white vinegar or distilled malt vinegar. They're both exactly the same things, and some tissue paper. What I'll do is that I'll get some tissue paper like this, and we dip it into the distilled vinegar and place it over the rust. I'll do this all along and then leave it on for a few hours for it to soak in. So we'll leave that now for a couple of hours and see how it's doing later. Okay, so now it's a few hours later, so let's see what kind of job the vinegar has done. Let's take these off. Okay, here I have some wire wool. Let's see if we can get some of this rust off. Oh, here we go. Let's do a nice job. Okay, so after cleaning a bit more, I think we can call that a resounding success. It hasn't got rid of it all, but after repeating the process a few times and targeting certain areas, I'm sure we can get the metal parts here looking like brand new. Okay, so now I've set the seat up on the bike. Unfortunately, I couldn't use the old-fashioned clamp on the seat because it's not really compatible with this kind of seat post. And I'd like to remove this extender, but at the moment I cannot. So it had to go on without the clamp, straight on the rails. I've set up the before and aft and the seat height, and I've given it a little test, and even without riding it, I've noticed that this saddle is a lot more comfortable than what was on it before. From this angle you can see that the sides of the saddle are flaring out. This sometimes happens over time, and to combat this, Brooks has incorporated these holes in each side of the saddle, which are designed to be laced up so that the saddle can be drawn in like this and give it a better shape and body. It also adds tension to the top. So again, the screw at the front, the tensioning screw, doesn't need to be touched. So I've taken the seat off the bike and marked the seat post height with some electrical tape. Now, Brooks probably has something on their site which is incredibly expensive and is made of mithril and can only be used by this particular saddle. But me, I'm using some spare old bootlaces. So there you have it, one laced up Brooks saddle. I've installed the saddle back on the bike and it's looking in much better shape now. I've just tucked the laces underneath and I shall cut them off when I decide that they are permanent. So that's it for this video. Join me next time when I think I'll be taking the bike out for a ride. See you next time.